What's the cringiest thing you've ever done in the pursuit of love? I had a crush freshman year of high school. We always talked on MySpace but hardly in person, even though we spent a lot of time together and I would walk her to 6th period drama class. One day I felt like I hadn't spent enough time with her, so I went into the classroom. I figured there was so many students, probably 40-60 kids, the teacher wouldn't notice. So there I am sitting in the classroom, not even next to her. It was a poorly thought out plan. After about 30 minutes the teacher calls me out. Something like, "Excuse me, who are you? I noticed you since the beginning of class." Now the entire class is staring at me in anticipation for my response. I quietly mumble, "I was just interested to see what you guys do in drama class," to which she loudly responds, "I'm sorry, you're going to have to speak up." Seconds feel like an eternity with everyone's eyes on me. One student repeats what I said but in the most awkward way possible while everyone is still looking at me. I just run out of the classroom. It's been 11 years and this still haunts me. My plan was to pretend to fall but actually save myself right before to catch her attention and look cool. Well, sometimes things don't go as planned and that's why I have a scar on my hip. Over 120 upvotes and not a single fell for you joke. Dang, I'm disappointed. I was young. Called crush's phone every 60 seconds for an hour. No answer. Repeat. I figured she'd pick up once she got home and I wanted to talk to her ASAP. Unfortunately, she was on the phone with someone else the entire time, getting the "you have another call" notifications about incoming calls. Just wasn't responding to them. After about the 60th time she picked up and screamed "what?" and I tried to worm out of it like it wasn't me that had just called her over and over and over. She didn't buy it, of course. This one still keeps me up at night 30 years later. Gave the girl a copy of Nickelback's Far Away in hopes that expressing passion and desire through Chad Kroger's chocolate bars would be enough to avoid making any awkward confessions myself. Found it a week later at my aunt's house with no explanation. Definitely still causes me a cold sweat from time to time. I was very little. I was at a playground on the swings next to this girl I had a crush on. My dad just gave me an Underdog super duper swing boost for those who aren't familiar, and I got the best idea. I turned to the girl next to me, and in the best badass voice my prepubescent self could manage, I said, "Watch this." I let go of the chains hoping to be able to balance, but instead I shot off backwards like a rocket and immediately blacked out. Ended up being dragged back home in a wagon and woke up on the couch. This sounds like something Charlie Brown would do. When I was little, probably 5th grade, I had a crush. Let's name her Sydney. So throughout the school year we were really good friends. We moved up to 6th grade and luckily went to the same school. I started to like her because it seemed she always gave me good luck. She was also super pretty. You was really into music around that time. You probably know where this is going. And I was really good at singing. In my old school, we had half-year through parties, and I thought that was the perfect time to do it. I wrote a love song a few days prior to the party day, then went to school. I had the paper with the song folded up in my pocket, and when the party started I offered her some of my chips. Then I sat her down and started singing. Literally everyone stopped talking and it was just me singing. When I was done, she clapped, some laughed and some clapped. Later that day at the end of school when we walked home, she expressed that my singing was crap, but she loves the way I had so much courage and dignity to go and sing to her in front of everyone. We decided we should start dating. I also had my first kiss with her. Oh, wholesome. When I was 12 I had a crush on a girl in my grade school. During our school 7th grade dance, I didn't realize that as I was trying to psych myself up to ask her to dance, I was actually following her around and she was very aware of it. She had to ask another kid to tell me to stop following her around and that I was being creepy. I ended up marrying another girl from my grade school class and we all got together like 20 years later at a bar and I got to apologize and sort of explain what I was trying to do. In 7th grade I bought chocolate for all my friends on Valentine's Day. I bought an extra one on purpose to give to my crush and play it off as having an extra one in that it wasn't specifically for them. I forgot about one of my friends and they asked for it when I said, "Oh look, there's one more. Haha, who wants it?" I pretended like I didn't hear him and gave it to my crush. He told me he was allergic to chocolate and gave it back to me. I gave it to the forgotten friend. My crush later ate chocolate from another girl whom also crushes on him. I know because they ended up dating. The guy friend I neglected ended up revealing his feelings to me the same day, but didn't want to make a move because of how focused I was on my crush. I ended up having a lonely day and a cringe-worthy memory to look back on. I feel so bad now. Sent my crush a letter and kissed it with lipstick on. He was out to let everyone know about it. So embarrassing. He thought his ex had sent it, so I was never caught. In 4th grade, we had a celebrity day where we would dress up as celebrities and set up like a wax museum. Parents and other teachers would come and could hear a little spiel we had prepared about our celebrity. Had a crush on a girl named Allison. So naturally, I dressed up as NASCAR driver Bobby Allison, full jacket and helmet and all. Looking back, I can't believe that I thought this was a good idea. This is such an elementary school kind of scheme. I love it. Lost a good GF in my early 20s, late 30s now, because I was insecure. She went out with her girls one night and said she would call around 11 to let me know what she was doing. She wasn't sure if she was going to stay a while or leave early and come see me. I was a night owl BTW. I probably called her nearly a dozen times by 2 AM. I don't know why. I just got it in my head that she was being pursued by countless better looking and more successful guys than me. I was never like that with any of my other GFs. She was way out of my league emo. That was also my first impression to her friends. They immediately convinced her I was clingy and just a rebound and to move on to someone better. She dumped me about 2 days later. That one still hurts and makes me cringe on how I acted. Always wonder how that one would have turned out had I not been like that. They immediately convinced her I was clingy and just a rebound and to move on to someone better. She dumped me about 2 days later. She drops you that fast and that easy? She didn't really care to begin with, so good riddance. In 8th grade, the most beautiful girl in the school asked me to tie her shoe. I did it without hesitation and it didn't hit me until years later what a spoiled bee she acted like, LOL. Capital F. Not really crazy, just weird. A girl I was over the top in love with was leaving to go back to college at like 6 AM, so I woke up extra early just to surprise her at her house with a gift. That gift? A folded wrinkled picture of her and her friend where only half of my body is in it, not even really knowing I was in a picture. I thought I was so romantic at the time, but I'm cringing even typing this. I made some mixed CDs in the early 2000s to express my feelings to my girlfriend. I may have even left them as a surprise under her windshield wiper at her job. Dude, a friend of mine made a mixed CD once and gave it to me. I think she gave it to a bunch of people, though. She left our school the following year due to some mental health issues, I believe was the story. Hope she's doing well now. Wrote anonymous poetry and hid it in a girl's textbooks. For 6 months. Brooding and hormonal 13-year-old me thought it was the most romantic and deep piece of literary work to grace our century. Declarations of love backdropped against gothic iconography, like Bram Stoker's Wet Dreams. To make matters worse, my handwriting was, and still is, awful, bearing a closer resemblance to cuneiform than English. That poor girl must have thought she was being stalked by the bastard love child of Anton LaVey and the Zodiac Killer. I got a rose with a message on it and gave it to my crush at the time. I don't even remember what the message said, but after that she went from being friendly to kind of cold. I dodged a bullet though because it turned out that she was kind of nasty on the inside and made fun of me for liking her. She sounds very insecure. I wrote a girl a poem confessing my attraction and asking her out. Now, to be fair, I had my more socially astute sister proofread it first, to make sure I wasn't doing something stupid. She transferred out of the 2 classes we had together and told me never to talk to her again. She avoided me for the next 2 years. Then I never saw her again. Sorry to hear that. AIM people will remember posting really pointed and angsty song lyrics in an away message and typing "be right back" so that your crush will receive your lyrical confession. This is how I snagged my husband. He will constantly remind me of this time in our lives. Well crap, if I had known it was going to work I wouldn't have given it up. I was 17 and head over heels for a girl, but unfortunately for me I'd put myself firmly in her friend zone by being a stereotypical Nasegai, without the name calling or dick pics. The signs that she didn't like me were all there. She called me her gay best friend and I'd drop everything to spend time with her. I confessed my love for her one night when a few of us were out for dinner and drinks. She knew I fancied her but wasn't interested, which broke my heart. I ended up spending most of the night awkwardly sitting at the bar getting drink after drink for myself and offering to buy her drinks, which she declined. The bartender was an old friend. Eventually we left and I asked her if she changed her mind after seeing what connections I had. She said no. I wanted to prove I was a badass, plus I was hurting inside, so I kept jumping into hedges or falling face first onto the pavement on purpose to try and impress her. It went about as well as you could expect. We stayed friends for a bit after that but haven't spoken in years now. I was a cringy frick then. So I kept jumping into hedges or falling face first onto the pavement on purpose to try and impress her. Oh number. I was 13 and liked a boy in my class. During quiet class walk time, the teacher would play popular music. At the time, You Belong With Me by Taylor Swift was all over the airwaves. When it came on once, I started mouthing the words to him from across the room and literally everyone else in the class noticed this except him. Got some weird looks. He definitely knew I liked him and didn't like me back. Now a decade later, based on social media, I definitely dodge a bullet there, but it gets lots of laughs during wine night with my friends. So my past embarrassment was worth this funny story emo. I love this story so much. In 4th grade I overheard when my crush would be logging on to Club Penguin that night and where to find him. So I logged in and found him. He didn't know it was me, but I thought if through chatting I could get him to like me in the game, he would then like me in real life. So I kept saying I love you and putting up heart emotes until he did it back. Plan failed. He didn't like me back. This is absolutely adorable. I had a huge crush on this guy from 4th to 6th grade. Tried to follow him home tons of times. One time, it was raining and I saw he was not using an umbrella, so I ran and held an umbrella for him. He was shocked and asked me why the heck am I following him. Oh, bursts into tears when I found out he had a girlfriend and was changing schools in high school. Wrote him love letters and such. He told me kept a few of them but he lost it in a flash flood. I also spied him every time I would pass his classroom. We dated in our junior year, but I got back with my abusive ex, and he focused on getting a scholarship. Dated again in college but we were too busy and just couldn't work it out. He's an architect now, and when he found out I was getting married and pregnant, he was happy for me and made me promise that if I want to have my dream house, I should call him and he will make sure he'll give me one. Things didn't work out but I am so proud that he was my first love. We don't talk anymore but he will always have a special place in my heart. Hope you're doing okay, Luke. I had a huge crush on my best friend's sister when I was like 15. One time a group of him, me, some of his family friends, and his sister went bowling. The bowling alley had a claw game with teddy bears, stuffed animals, the usual stuff. My friend somehow managed to get a gift for his crush at the time, who was also accompanying us. Naturally I thought, how hard could that be? I'm going to woo his sister with the same trick. It took me like 7 freaking tries and I had to run back and forth from the change machine to get more quarters, all within sight of the entire group. At one point she told me it was okay and that I should stop, but god freaking dang if I wasn't going to eventually do it. Nothing came from it and I looked like a tool. Your perseverance is commendable. I was 8 when I had a crush on my older brother's friend who was like 12, so I attempted to wear makeup to look older. I received one of those life-size Barbie styling heads for Christmas and it came with some makeup, so I applied blue eyeshadow, blush, and red lipstick. When he saw me he laughed and my brother told me I looked like a clown. As if that wasn't enough, my mom appeared and in typical dramatic Filipino mom fashion, placed her hand over her heart and said, "What are you doing, Anak? Child, you look like a baby." I didn't touch makeup again until I was in my late 20s. Why'd I hear this in my tita's voice? Woo boy, I told her I had my eye on her. Then I realized the next step was asking permission to date her and decided I wasn't about that life. I was so embarrassed that I ghosted. I still cringe today. I was such a loser. Found out recently she's dying of cancer in her mid-30s, so there's that to make it worse. I was about 12-13 and I asked one of my crush's friend to give me her number. I came out as a total creep and it still haunts me to this day. Oof, Did the same thing at 15. I literally burnt myself. I didn't move while burning so she could watch me how much I love her. I was wearing a tank top and had a leather jacket on it. The leather was fake and cheap, and there was nothing between my skin and the leather. Jacked stick to my body. I burnt my chin's right side. When she just sighed and closed the window, I realized how bad I fricked up. I put out the fire for like 5 minutes after burning myself. When I tried to take the jacket off, I realized that it was going to hurt. My love for you hot like fire. No, seriously, let me grab a lighter. In 6th grade, I intentionally mixed up a Rubik's cube just so I could watch my crush solve it. He was really good at solving Rubik's cubes. Okay, this happened almost 12 years ago. I am from India. I had a serious crush on this girl in my class. What did I decide to do? Consult a special astrologist to know whether the girl will ever love me back or not. The kicker is, this place is around 20 hours travel from my city. The journey involves overnight travel by train and bus and a couple of hours of waiting. It's so embarrassing to think about it that I haven't told anyone about this, including my wife. I still cringe thinking about it sometimes. Is stayed with friends of my stepmom's for the first time. I ended up making out with their son. Didn't get his social media or anything, so I decided to add his mum on Facebook and send my number to her and ask her to give it to him. FML, I still cringe to this day. When I was in grade 2, I thought I was ready to have a relationship when I really wasn't. So I started to go up to boys in my grade asking if they wanted to be my boyfriend. Most of them rejected me, but one of them told me to ask a particular boy to be my boyfriend. When I asked him, he accepted and I was really happy. We broke up the next day. Better love story than Twilight. I've been in a toxic relationship with this girl that basically didn't give a crap about me and my feelings, but I, on the other hand, would do all those things to get in touch with her. She would then make me feel bad about how pure I was towards her, and one day she decided to break up with me. I was so destroyed that day and couldn't think how good it is for me that it has finally ended, so I decided to do some devoting act to get her back, thinking it would make her heart melt because of my commitment. So, I asked our mutual friend to question her if she's busy, and if she's not, then he would say that he's actually around her house and would like to meet for a minute because he's bored. After that, me and our mutual friend would drive to nearest mall to buy some flowers, and I was hiding in the trunk. So as soon as he pulled up to her house, I jumped from his car's trunk with rose in my hand, asking her to give our relationship a second chance. She said no, of course. Not your fault, man. You dodged a 155mm howitzer shell there. There was this girl I had a bit of a crush on in high school. I knew she liked Doctor Who, so I started typing up poems to her based off the show and leaving them for her anonymously. Eventually she left me a note back asking me to please just let her know who I was. I wish I hadn't, but I did. It was super awkward because I was too shy to approach her and talk about it after that. She also didn't approach me, and nothing ever came of it. That day I revealed myself. I was so upset about how things played out that I went off by myself and cried. AWW. This is so sad. You had a good idea and it sounded cute. Sorry it didn't play out the way you wanted to. It's possible that she didn't like you and that's why she never responded to it, or something else. I allowed myself to be dropped from all of my classes and told my parents uni was kicking me out because my loan did not materialize. Only partially true. So I could move home and continue my relationship. Big surprise, the relationship did not continue. At that time, I quit a very lucrative side hustle that allowed me to travel extensively and live a life of relative luxury, compared to what I could afford with just my job. To be in a relationship and raise 2 stepkids. Fun fact, I'm a much better aunt than parent. I listened to this song I knew he liked, and when we talk next time, I brought it up in conversation to seem cool. Answer, oh, you still listen to that? The only cringy person I see here is him. It's normal to be interested in what your crush is interested in, books, movies, music, etc., and to give it a shot if you're not already familiar with it. People who only care about what's new or in right now, however, are truly cringy. I played a game of slaps with some strong sucker to impress her. For context, you hold your hands out like but horizontal from your chest and try and slap the other person's hand and make them flinch. Went 30 rounds with this C and my hand was black after. She's actually one of my best friends now. I was in 6th grade. Our school had given us personal email addresses last year. Naturally, I used my email to tell a boy that I liked him and that he looked like Prince Eric. He did not like me back, so I decided to tell him that my friend dared me to do it and that I didn't like him. He called my bluff and told me to stop lying. Haven't talked to him since. I don't think he told anyone since I wasn't teased until the end of time. Told the school bad boy that I will always be there for him if he needs support, and it would be cool to go skating with me cause it will be fun. After he said alright, we can go for a walk with some mutual friends. Seems tame, right? Well then I tried to persuade him to kiss me and hold my hand because he needed a girl like me in his life and I loved him so much. Yep, I acted like a disastrous. PS. His hand was really clammy. Ugh. Oh crap. That happened to me once but I've never been considered a bad boy. I fell right into the disastrous trap. But it didn't work because I'm asexual and oblivious. I sent drunk audios explaining how I feel in that moment. The same night she started dating another guy. Yeah, just kill me for being this pathetic person. Arjum help it. After going to a dance with this girl and some friends, I had a dream about her, causing me to wake up around 4 AM. I texted this girl at 4 AM saying I'm mad at you. I had a dream about you and it woke me up. And now I can't stop thinking about you. I followed that text a few minutes later with another text saying sorry, that was awkward. Hopefully I didn't wake you up too. She thought it was weird, as she should have, but strangely enough it all worked out in the end. We weren't even dating at the time yet, according to her. I thought we were dating, but we started talking a lot after that, and now we've been married for nearly 5 years. Haha. Oh boy, I got one. I was a shitshow in middle school. I had the world's biggest crush on this kid named Basil and I made a freaking collage out of his pictures that I cut out from our yearbooks. Haha. Word got back to him pretty quickly. Strangely he wasn't a big fan of that. Good times. I also stole a jar of Basil from my mom's spice rack and modified it so it read Basil is retarded and left it at his seat in algebra class and he refused to speak to me for 2 weeks. Romance isn't dead. Y'all. Haha, this sounds like something my best friend and I would do. Lady I was interested in, we had some attraction for each other, but were in the it would never work phase. I was married, separated. A few other circumstances were involved as well. I don't remember, but I was trying everything I could to get with her. Her mom dies. We all go to the hospital, myself and a few other of her friends with her for support. Hospital says that only 2 people could be in to say goodbye at a time. The woman's entire family was there. My crush breaks down sobbing when they say that her mom is ready to be viewed, and runs towards the room. I followed. I cut in front of all of her family, her mother and brothers, so I could play white knight for this chick so that she would sleep with me. Luckily this was years ago. I've pulled my head out of my butt. After much apologizing and self-reflection, my wife and I got back together and are doing much better. I cut in front of all of her family, her mother and brothers, so I could play white knight for this chick so that she would sleep with me. This is the part where my mouth dropped open and hung there for like 20 seconds. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.